There's something about Reddit that makes horror hit different. Real people, real stories, and that eerie feeling that any of it could happen to you. Tonight, we're diving into the scariest Reddit horror stories ever shared. These aren't just ghost tales, these are personal accounts. The kind that linger in your mind long after the screen goes dark. So grab your blanket, turn off the lights, and prepare to stay awake. The man in the rearview mirror. They were driving late at night, returning home from a friend's house in rural Pennsylvania. No streetlights, just miles of forest and fog. As they drove, they glanced in the rearview mirror and froze. A man was sitting in the back seat, pale skin, white eyes, wearing a tattered black coat. The driver panicked, swerving off the road and jumping out of the car. But when they opened the back door, it was empty. Here's the kicker. They later remembered something bone-chilling. A few weeks earlier, a hitchhiker had been killed on that same stretch of road. His body was never found. And the description? Matched exactly. Static buzz and breathy whisper. He's still looking for a ride. Voices in the vent. 1940s building. Cheap rent, too good to be true. They soon started hearing whispers at night, coming from the air vent above their bed. They thought it was a neighbor, until they asked the landlord. No one's lived in the apartment next door for 2 years, he said. Not since the incident. When asked what happened, he just shook his head and muttered, "She was hearing voices too." The Redditor later set up a phone to record overnight. The next morning, they played it back. There it was. A woman's voice whispering, "Why won't you listen to me?" Needless to say, they broke their lease the next day. Knocking from inside the walls. They had just bought their first home, a small fixer-upper out in the country. Late one night, they heard knocking, but not from the front door. It was coming from inside the walls. At first, they assumed it was mice or pipes. 3 knocks, pause, 3 knocks again. They eventually knocked back, and got a response. 3 knocks, perfectly timed. Terrified, they opened a panel behind the old boiler. What they found still haunts them. A tiny room, just big enough for a person to crouch. Inside, a child's dusty shoe, and scratched into the wall, the words, "Let me out." Police were called. They found human remains in the crawl space. The wrong reflection. One night, brushing their teeth in the communal bathroom, they caught something odd in the mirror. Their reflection wasn't moving right. When they raised their hand, the reflection raised the wrong one. It was like watching a reversed video that was slightly out of sync. Frozen with fear, they leaned closer. The reflection didn't mimic. It smiled. But they weren't smiling. They screamed and ran, waking everyone in the building. When they returned with a roommate, everything seemed normal. But that night, they couldn't shake the feeling that the thing in the mirror was still watching. And every night since, that same bathroom mirror seems just a little off. Grandpa's last message. Their grandfather had passed away after a long illness. The family was grieving, sorting through his belongings. A week after the funeral, they got a voicemail from Grandpa's number. But it was garbled. He had been faint breathing. Then, "Don't trust her." They played it back dozens of times. Same thing. "Don't trust her." They confronted their grandmother, who broke down crying. Years ago, during a brief separation, she'd gotten involved with a man no one ever knew about, a man who mysteriously vanished. To this day, no one knows if the message was real, or if Grandpa had unfinished business. Whether you believe these stories or not, Reddit has become the modern campfire, where we gather to tell the things that chill our bones. So, which story kept you awake the most? Leave a comment below. And if you have a creepy tale of your own, you know where to share it. Subscribe for more darkness.